Hi, it's Christina with the Sisyphean Journal. Today is April 19th, and I've already covered today's safe and legal abortion death. A young woman named Mary, who, of course, thought she was safe going into a hospital for her abortion in 1977, but they poked a hole in her uterus, and less than 7 hours, she was dead. She had bled to death. So you can follow a link to Mary's story below. But I am going to follow through on what we've been looking at lately, which is Planned Parenthood and whether they deserve to get our tax money. So I'm going to tell you a story that actually has a happy ending, or is well on its way to a happy ending. Dr. Brent Bowles of Abortion Pill Rescue Network got permission to tell a patient's story about her baby, how her baby survived a chemical abortion started at Planned Parenthood. He shared it with Life News, which is my source, and to respect her privacy, of course, Dr. Bowles didn't use her name, so I'm going to refer to her as Madison. Now, first of all, Madison sought help at Planned Parenthood in Knoxville. But when I went to provide a link to the Knoxville Planned Parenthood, I saw that after the Dobbs decision, all the Planned Parenthoods in Knoxville shut their doors. If abortion is really only 3% of what Planned Parenthood does, why would the Dobbs decision and Tennessee's restrictions on abortion make any difference? I mean, it's only 3% of what they do. Why wouldn't they stay open and provide all of the other comprehensive health care services that they say they provide? Just something to think about. So, Madison went into Planned Parenthood, and while the ultrasound was being done, she asked if there was a heartbeat. The staff told her that between 7 and 8 weeks of pregnancy, fix that typo, that, quote, there is cardiac activity, but it's too early to call it a heartbeat. Now, this is nonsense. Although it's in a primitive form, the heart itself begins beating at 22 days, which is just past 3 weeks after conception, or 5 weeks of gestation when you're counting from the start of the mother's last period, which is 2 weeks before conception. And I'll provide links to a simple explanation of cardiac heart development, a little bit more complicated, and a link to a 7-week ultrasound being performed where they're assessing the heart. So when the mother's planning to keep the baby, the attitude toward the heart is quite different than if you're trying to sell her an abortion. Now, aside from flat out lying to her about the heart, they withheld some information. The person who did the ultrasound did not tell Madison that she was carrying twins. Now, why would she withhold this information? Well, because according to conversations I've heard among abortionists when listening to National Abortion Federation meeting tapes, women are less likely to abort if they're told they're carrying twins. Now, at first glance, this might seem counterintuitive. I mean, if having one baby is going to derail her life to the point where she has to abort that child, wouldn't 2 babies be an even worse scenario? But my theory is that the knowledge that she's carrying twins makes the decision no longer about a pregnancy. When you know there's 2, you know that there's something alive in there. And it's a lot harder to abort your twins than it is to end a pregnancy. Now, Madison did get a miracle. She returned to Planned Parenthood for a follow-up appointment after taking her abortion pills and discovered that in spite of everything, she was still pregnant. And knowing that her twins were still alive, well, actually, I don't think she even knew they were twins at this point. Knowing that her baby was still alive, she sought help and found the Abortion Pill Rescue Network's 24-hour hotline and called, and that referred her to Dr. Bowles. He examined Madison, saw the twins, determined that the pregnancy seemed stable. And he theorized that since Madison was pregnant with twins, her natural progesterone level was higher than it would be for a singleton pregnancy. He did not have to administer additional progesterone to save her babies. Instead, he monitored the babies, and as of the most recent update, they're at 12 weeks gestation and showing every sign of being healthy. And Madison herself, she is very happy that this abortion failed and that in a couple months she's going to have her twins in her arms.